Hi everyone and welcome back to Vlogmas Day 17. I already apologize for the amount of background noise today's video is going to have, but this is the only time I have to film today, so we're gonna have to deal with it until I can get a microphone or a better setup. Today I have a short video essay. If you follow my channel for a while, you will know that this year I read 2 books concerning fandom culture, and more specifically K-pop and J-pop fandom cultures. And I didn't really enjoy them, but I'm still searching for some form of media that talks more critically about this specific type of fandom, and more specifically the problems that I encountered when I was in a K-pop fandom. Today's essay is titled sort of Why I Broke Up with K-pop, because I used to be a K-pop fan and I am no longer that. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about my experience in the fandom and some of the problems that I faced and the reasons why I no longer am a part of this community. To backtrack a little bit, my sister was the one that introduced me to K-pop, and around 2014, 2015, all of this kind of happened because Zayn left One Direction in 2015, and that shattered my entire world, to be quite honest. I can remember a me before that and a me after that. And I know that sounds a little bit tragic and dramatic, but it sort of is. I was a huge One Direction fan. That was a gigantic part of my life, liking their music, enjoying following them around, like on the internet. And most importantly, all of my friends and the entire community that I was in was a One Direction based community. All of my mutuals online, my experience online, on Tumblr, having my blog, on Twitter with my fan account, and even in real life, all of my friends at school were friends because we liked One Direction. So the moment that my favorite member left the group, it sort of created like a rift. There were some friends that still followed them on their next album. I didn't. I loved Zayn too much and I couldn't think of a band without him. That's one of the reasons why I never listened to Made in the AM ever. In my opinion, Zayn was the biggest part of that band, so I couldn't see myself enjoying them without him in it. So in parts, my engagement in K-pop was sort of a reflection of no longer having community. And I think this may be one of the reasons why I ended up breaking up with K-pop at around 2019, 2020, because I found that the community aspect of K-pop was a whole lot different than the community aspect of One Direction fandom and even other fandoms that I've been a part of in my life before and then after K-pop. According to my Last FM, I officially stopped listening to K-pop at around the second semester of 2019. Looking at the stats, it was like during the first 6 months of the year that I slowly stopped interacting with K-pop on my day-to-day and completely quit cold turkey at the end of 2019, I could say. It was partially because I was no longer friends with a lot of people that I met through K-pop. I will talk a little bit more in depth about that, but mostly it was because I felt like K-pop fandom was having like a terrible, terrible effect on my mental health. And I think both of the books that I read this year, Idol Burning and YN, sort of mentioned this downward spiral in mental health that the competitiveness and the comparison on K-pop fandoms have on your mental health. To be quite honest, I don't think I've been in many untoxic fandoms in my life. I mean, I was a Directioner before they released Up All Night, so like I saw the entirety of that band's career through a fandom lens, and it's not like it wasn't toxic. There was a lot of comparison, of course, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like every bad memory that I have on the One Direction fandom was mostly seeing people mistreat the members of the group, not necessarily mistreat each other. And I think that is one of the biggest differences that I found in K-pop. I feel like the comparison aspect is something that I've never encountered in the same exact way in any other type of fandom. You're not really considered a fan of a K-pop group unless you watch every single one of their performances. And mind you, during like a single release week, you'd have like thousands of performances. You are not a real fan if you don't buy CDs or merch or even like counterfeit merch or fan-made merch. if you don't consume every single thing that they put out. And most importantly, I think differently that I felt during my One Direction phase, I felt like I couldn't really engage critically with anything that I consumed in K-pop, because any sort of minor complaint or minor critique would be seen as you being an anti-fan. During my entire time enjoying K-pop, I felt like I had to be proving my love and proving my worth as a fan every single day in online communities, most specifically on Twitter. For example, my favorite group was GOT7, but my ultimate bias was Yoongi from BTS, and I found that to be incredibly difficult to navigate. I felt like I had to be explaining myself and my feelings towards these unknown people all of the freaking time on Twitter, mainly because I felt like people were shading me online for enjoying multiple people. And you may be thinking like, oh girl, that was just your experience. That's not the reality of K-pop fandom. This is just a particular slice of the fandom. You were just friends with shitty people, and that can happen in any other type of fandom. And you may be right, but I was friends with some of the most influential people in the K-pop fandom at the time. Like, they had official fan clubs, they had contacts with companies in Korea, like they went to Korea. It was not like I was just friends with my corner of the internet. I was somehow part of like a big fandom group on Twitter. So it is probably true that in some other K-pop group fandoms and in some different corners of the internet, things weren't so bad, but I feel like that was my true experience, especially with ARMY, because these people were very famous in the ARMY fandom. I could have just disengaged with the fandom part of enjoying music, but I think fandom is probably one of my favorite aspects of my life. This is something that I mentioned even in my job interview, to be quite honest. It is one of my biggest driving forces in life. Like, I enjoy enjoying things and I enjoy creating community around that. I am always going to be seeking fandom after falling in love with an artist, a show, a movie, anything. I want to be able to engage in community with other like-minded people about something that I enjoy. But this engaging in community is not necessarily comparing myself to other people or proving myself as a mega fan, but most importantly, it is like engaging critically with the content by talking and conversing with other people. The idea is that fandom brings people that have one particular interest together, but these people have like different life experiences, different opinions about the content that you're consuming, and bringing these two things together, I feel like, is the greatest part of fandom, and one of the main reasons why I am always seeking community in things that I love. I felt like, in particular with K-pop fandoms, you didn't have that sort of camaraderie. It felt all of the freaking time like you were in competition with the other fans for who has the official light stick, who has all of the merch, who has all of the best photo cards, who has watched every single one of their performances and can point out like specific details of every single performance. It felt like I was never enough to be a part of that group, and I felt like that was putting a ton of pressure not only on my mental health but also on like my finances, because I spent so much money trying to fit into a group that would never accept me as enough. There would always be something lacking. For the second half of 2019, I tried to do that, like tried to stop engaging in fandom culture online and only listen to the music, but slowly I started losing interest in engaging with the content without having anyone to talk to. I feel like this is not strange, considering that I am right now in this YouTube channel talking about the things that I like. I enjoy yapping about the things that I like with people that understand what I'm talking about. And just listening to K-pop songs alone in my room wasn't enough, in my opinion, and that's why I slowly stopped listening to it. And in the end, the groups that I liked started going in a different sort of direction. And to be quite honest, I don't think I would have enjoyed most of the things that they put out after that. So it was sort of like a good thing because I wouldn't have to critique any of these musics that I didn't like inside the fandom, where I would be constantly attacked by saying things that I didn't like. Sometimes I miss it. Like, I still listen to a few songs here and there, but there are so many groups. The landscape has changed a lot. Most of the groups that I liked have disbanded or are no longer signed to the companies that they were signed in, and most of them are in the army. Everything has changed really dramatically in the past few years that I've been away, so I don't feel like rejoining the group, to be quite honest. And part of me never wants to return to K-pop, and I think I've been a lot wary about fandoms that I engage in after that. It really messed up with my self-worth and my self-confidence as a fan and as a person, to be quite honest. And I don't think I'm ready to dive back into that world. And I also think that this experience with this particular fandom has also made me engage more critically with the fandoms that I am currently a part of. I filter a lot of things on Twitter. I only follow people that I thoroughly enjoy following. And I feel like this is also one of the reasons why I no longer engage in most music fandoms, to be quite honest. Most of the fandoms that I feel like I am a part of right now are movie, TV shows, and some sports fandoms, not all of them. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this topic down below. I feel like I've rambled on and on, but let me know if you can get the gist of what I wanted to do with this vlog. And if you agree or disagree or have any other input in K-pop fandoms and fandom culture in general. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!